Hello, everyone.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of our retirement journey.
Number 5.
Episode number 5. So the first 4 episodes was really about our 10-year plan and how we navigated through that. Then we did take a couple more trips throughout those 10 years to the Philippines just as a visit, and then the actual moving day to the Philippines. So now this episode is about the first 60 to 90 days and all the things that we had to deal with about moving to a new country. And it's a big deal. It's a little scary on my part, but for you, it was really just visiting family.
Yes, it was nice spending time with my family.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we were in Leyte. Now, do remember that was during the pandemic. So we were locked down basically on that island. Our plan was to spend time in Leyte and then go to Cebu, Bohol, Negros Oriental. That's the original plan, to look at real estate and to see other islands. But there was no domestic travel. So even if we wanted to travel to those islands, we could not. No one could. So we were locked down in Leyte. And actually, just going to the other side of the island, or really anywhere more than like 30 minutes from where she grew up, you had to apply online to that municipality and request a QR code. And then there was, remember, there was roadblocks everywhere.
Yeah.
And they would not let you to that municipality unless you had that scannable QR code.
Yes.
So if you're in a car with 4 people, you had to have 4 QR codes.
Yes.
They would scan every one of them, then allow you to proceed. So we really were locked down on that island for sure. So let's just say the first 30 days was just visiting family.
We were just visiting family.
And what else do you remember?
I remember it's just way too hot for me.
Okay.
And
Humidity.
yes, the humidity. And I just, the no internet,
Yes.
no phone,
Yes.
it really bothers me.
That was tough, yeah.
It was very hard for me to adjust.
Yes.
Because I need, we need to get hold of our family, and we had to travel like 5 miles to do all that.
Yeah.
And then you had to have the QR codes each time you go 5 miles away.
Yeah.
So it was not.
Yeah, definitely hot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing for me was obviously the humidity now. Wilma's house is at sea level. She's about 70 meters to the ocean, so she's right there. And her house has a cement wall around it, and the land is flat, which means the ocean breeze that you do get is blocked to some degree by that wall. So I just remember how hot it was, just tremendous. And that's really what kicked off us saying, we need to find elevation. We need to find land with elevation.
Yeah.
So if you're coming to the Philippines and you start traveling around and you're at sea level at all these beautiful resorts and saying, wow, it's really hot, and you're thinking about land, start looking at land at elevation, because it's a game changer. So that's how that started. Just being that first 30, 60
yes.
days. Oh my God. There's just no way you could stop sweating unless you were in air conditioning. And we basically had the aircon in the master bedroom on 24/7.
Yeah.
If we went away for a few hours, we would turn it off. But once we got back to her house, we would turn that aircon back on again. And yes, no cell service and no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult. So, us Westerners, we got to have some movies, some news.
Yeah.
So when Wilma says we had to travel like 5 miles, this is what we had to do. We had to take our cell phones and we would travel by trike. So we'd have to hail a trike in front of her house and then pay the trike driver to take us 5 miles. And then we would basically stand next to the cell tower, get a signal, and start downloading movies. So we had Netflix, and then we had Spotify for music. So we would sit there. That was basically our day.
Yeah.
And the cell service was so bad, it would take sometimes up to an hour for like a 2-hour movie. So we would be in that little municipality just standing there with a cell phone for an hour looking for shade and just download a movie. So we had a 2-hour movie to watch at night. So it was kind of a shock, call it culture shock.
Yes.
And it was difficult.
It is.
Yeah.
You know.
So we enjoyed ourselves with family.
Yes.
And that was nice. But, you still want to have some luxury. You want to know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Want to watch some movies at night. Of course, we sat outside and, talked to family. But, when you basically go into the house and get into the aircon, you don't want to just stare at the four walls. You want to have some TV to watch. So I do remember that.
Yeah.
That was a little bit challenging. So we started right away to say, hey, let's start going out and start looking for property. Because we realized, and remember, we said either A, we were going to build onto the house in Leyte, or B, we were going to find land either on Leyte or another island. So we said to each other, even if we found the perfect piece of property in Leyte, that we were going to wait until we went to Cebu, Bohol, and Negros Oriental, because I didn't want to sit back many years later, and let's say we found a piece of property in Leyte. We build our dream home there, this dream home there. I would probably sit back and say, well, we didn't go to Cebu. We didn't follow the plan. We didn't go to Bohol. We didn't go to Negros Oriental. We didn't follow the plan that we set out to see what those other islands had for us in store. So I think we stuck to our guns.
We did.
Yeah, we stuck to our
I'm glad
guns.
we did.
Yeah. Now, we didn't have transportation.
No.
So everything was done by trike, and that got old fast. So within 30 days, what we did was I said, we're going to go get a scooter. And we even had that research. I knew I was going to have a Yamaha NMAX 155 fuel injected. I knew I was going to have that. That was the scooter that I did my research on, and I wasn't going to waver from that. And I wanted the color black. So, again, we have the rest of our lives to be retired. I'm not going to be forced into buying something different or a different color. So we said pretty, soon on that we were going to start looking for a scooter. So within 30 days, we started going to Yamaha dealers. And the first one we went to, they did not have a black NMAX there. They had about 6 to 10 NMAX on the showroom floor, but no black. So I remember the salesman trying to do two things, trying to get me to buy one of the ones that was there. And I said, no, I want a black one or I'm not going to buy it. And then you may not remember this. The sales lady said, but sir, you can't register the scooter in your name. It has to be in your girlfriend's name. And I'm like, well, she's not my girlfriend. We've been married for a long time. And I knew that wasn't true.
No,
so
it was a lie.
It was just a fabrication. I guess for whatever reason, she was trying to do Wilma a solid by getting the scooter in her name.
Yeah, which I can care less.
So I said, no, obviously that's incorrect. I don't want it just in my name. I want it in both of our names. So just in case something happened to me, and then she tried to re-register it down the road, and it's registered in my name, not in her name. So I said, and here's a tip for you guys. If you buy a scooter or a vehicle for that matter, because the same thing applied, have both names on the registration. So then I can go register it down the road, or she can re-register it down the road without any problems. So I just remember that. The sales lady was like, oh no, you can't register a vehicle in your name. And I already knew that that wasn't the case. So you always have to be on your toes when you're living here in the Philippines, and I guess a lot of countries for that matter. So now we had a scooter.
Yeah.
It was a game changer. And so many people said, you'll never get it registered. It'll take you a year to get your plates. In Leyte, we had our plates in 30 days.
30 days.
Now, we had to hire a fixer.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what a fixer is, it's usually somebody affiliated with that establishment. So this happened to be the Yamaha dealer. So when we were talking through buying a scooter, they finally did get a black one once I wouldn't budge. We went back a few days later, and there was a black one there because we were driving by the Yamaha dealer for me to get the signal. So I remember looking over and saying, look, there's a black NMAX sitting there.
Yeah.
And I remember going in to another salesperson and saying, oh, I thought you didn't have any blacks in stock. They said, no, we have a warehouse just down the road, and there's plenty of black ones there. So again, the salesperson didn't want to make a phone call just down the road to bring over a black NMAX for me, trying to get me to sell, or buy the 6 or 8 that was there. And then, like I said, I inquired, oh, did you get this from Cebu? Where did you get this NMAX from? No, we just got it from our warehouse down the road. So again, you just have to tell them what you want and not budge.
Yeah.
So once I saw it, I said, I'll take it. That's the one I wanted. And then that's when we had to, go get the money from the bank and things like that to pay for it. But it was a game changer for us. We paid the fixer, and I remember the price. It was 1,500 pesos.
Yeah.
So about $27. And what that person does is takes the paperwork from the Yamaha dealership, and the fixer has an office right in the Yamaha dealer. So I said, how does it work? He says, well, it's that guy right over there. He literally had his own desk.
Yeah.
And we went over and talked to him, and we paid him the 1,500 pesos. And his job is to take all the information to Tacloban.
LTO.
To the LTO there. Which
It's a
was,
DMV here. Yeah.
DNV in the U.S., LTO here. 2.5 hours, which was good for us. We didn't have to travel 2.5 hours. And he does all the paperwork for you and gets the plate. And he has an inside to that LTO. That's why you pay him 1,500 pesos. It's worth just not traveling the 2.5 hours one way. But he did all the paperwork for us, and he says, I'll have it in 30 days. And he did.
Yeah.
He called us in 30 days and said, come get your plate. It was fantastic. But having that scooter was a game changer.
Yes.
So
definitely.
now we had transportation. So now we started branching out. And of course, we had to get our QR codes. So we had to have a QR code for like the Tacloban area, another one for the Ormoc area, another one I think for Bye-Bye. Bye-Bye area.
Yeah.
So we had several QR codes that we already had. So we knew we could travel within Leyte in the areas in which we were interested. At that time, we were not interested in southern Leyte, just more northern Leyte because that's where she's from. So we just started going around to different realtors, and we had all our QR codes on a key ring. And as we went to a municipality, hey, what municipality we're in? We're in Tacloban. Hold on a minute. Oh, here's the QR code. And then they scan it and say, welcome to Tacloban, and then we go. So we started the first 5 months.
Yes.
Just traveling around. And it felt really good having our own wheels. So now we had to get a driver's license. So the driver's license for a foreign country is good for 90 days, I believe, legally.
Yeah.
So if I have a USA license, New York State, in my particular case, and so did Wilma, driver's license, New York State. If you got stopped by the police here and showed them that license, it was valid as long as you're within the country, and I believe it's less than 90 days.
Yeah.
Guys, correct me if I'm wrong there. I didn't do the research. I think it's 90 days. So, obviously you have your stamp within your passport. So they say never travel with your passport. So what we did was made a copy of that, showing that we were, when we actually got through into the country.
Yeah.
So if we did get stopped, we never did have to show that, but we could show our New York State license, and we could show the fact that we were in the country less than 90 days, and we were good to go. So at the 60-day mark, we went to LTO in Palompon and showed them all the paperwork.
Yeah.
And it went through fine. They said no problem whatsoever. We had to show them our passport. Wilma's a dual citizen, so she just showed her Philippine passport. We showed that we had a valid license outside the country, happened to be New York State for USA, but it could be any country as long as it's valid. We showed them that license with our endorsements, I had motorcycle and vehicle. Wilma just had a vehicle. And then they said, no problem. Filled out the paperwork. We took our photos. We paid the fee. And then they said, but we can't give you the Philippine license.
The hard copy.
Because the printer was down.
And they sent it to Manila.
To get fixed. So they said you have to travel an hour and a half to Ormoc to get the actual license. Well, I didn't know that we had to do the paperwork all over again. So what we did literally that day, because we were there first thing in the morning, is we drove an hour and a half by scooter to Ormoc. We drove in there, and here's where things are different from area to area, from municipality to municipality, from LTO to LTO, from island to island. We got to Ormoc and they said, oh, you've been only here 60 days. You can't get a license yet. And we're like, we were just in Palompong and went through the process, and they said, no problem whatsoever. Can you call them? And they said, well, let me talk to my manager. So they brought us into an office, and there was a gentleman sitting there. And I said, hey, we've been in the country for 60 days. We were just in Palompong. They pushed everything through because we're on a Balikbayan visa. And we're to get the license, got right to the last step. And they said, but we don't have a printer to print your license. They told us to come here. So he basically just looked at our passport and looked at the license. And we had the lady's name.
Yeah, we told him that this is the manager in Palompong.
And Palompong, could you please call them?
Yeah.
And he says, no, I don't need to do that. And he looked at it and he thought, and then he says, yeah, we'll approve it. So the actual teller at the Ormoc station says, no, you can't get a driver's license in 60 days as a foreigner. But the manager okayed it. And I think it's because we said Balikbayan visa, as well as we were just in Palompong, and we gave that person's name to call. He kind of just said, yeah, just push it through. So we were nervous, saying, oh no, they're going to deny us, knowing that at 90 days, technically we'd be illegal. We only had 30 days to drive on my New York State license. So we went ahead and got it pushed through, and we walked out, I think it was an hour and a half.
An hour and a half there, yeah.
In Ormoc. And we walked out
with our license
at 60 days. So we felt pretty good about that. So that was a big box to tick. We had our Philippine license, so we're happy about that.
That was good.
So we had our scooter. We had our license plate for the scooter.
Yeah.
And registration and all that. We had our driver's license. So now we said it's time to start doing some vehicle shopping. We wanted to buy a truck. We knew, because of the research that we did in the United States, we knew we wanted either a Toyota or a Mitsubishi. That was the two trucks that we wanted. And we knew we wanted white.
Yeah.
So we were down to either Toyota or Mitsubishi, and they had dealers in Ormoc. And you can hear Prince out there barking.
Yeah.
So if he's barking, that means there's somebody walking by the gate. So he gets mad when somebody walks by the gate.
Yeah,
so
he's letting us know.
Letting us know someone's walking by. So we knew we wanted either a Toyota or a Strata, a Mitsubishi, and we started doing the shopping. So we were out with real estate agents in Leyte and looking for property.
Yes.
We got our driver's license. We bought a scooter, and we started looking for trucks. So we were busy.
Yeah.
We were moving, and that was at the 60-day mark. So the first 30 days was really visiting with family. The next 30 to 60 was trying to get some of these things done. We wanted to move quickly, and we were just waiting for domestic travel to open up. We didn't want to waste time because, remember, guys, we said we wanted to be very strategic with looking for land because tourism was closed, and we knew a lot of foreigners left the Philippines during the long 2-year pandemic, and there wasn't a lot of land being purchased. So we
Yeah.
knew we were going to have a relatively easy go of it.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get to Cebu, we wanted to get to Bohol, we wanted to get to Negros, but yet we couldn't go yet.
We cannot. Yeah.
So what we did was basically look at every piece of property that was available in Leyte.
Yeah.
I don't think there was one piece that we didn't see. And then we were still looking for vehicles.
Yeah.
And that took a little bit of time because we were trying to negotiate and things like that. So that was basically our first, say, call it 60 to 90 days.
Yes.
Visiting family, getting settled in. We made the major decision that we were not going to add on to the house in her hometown because of the heat.
No internet.
No internet. Now, of course, that over time changes, especially with Starlink. No cell service. We wanted to branch out and find the perfect piece of property for us. So getting the scooter, getting our driver's license, starting shopping for trucks. You can see that we were busy, and we continue to do that. So the next episode will be that 90-day point out where we went ahead and found a truck. We'll tell that story. And then we started traveling to other islands, because at about the 4th or 5th month of us being here in the Philippines, they opened up domestic travel. First to Cebu, and they kind of did it one island at a time.
Yeah.
They started with Cebu, so we went there immediately. Then, like a couple weeks later, Bohol followed Cebu. So we went to Bohol, and we got a lot of stories to talk about Bohol. And then last island was Negros Oriental, and it was the one that piqued our interest the most because of all the YouTube vloggers saying how, come and visit Negros. There's a lot of Western amenities. Darwin is up and coming. You got ocean views. So it ticked a lot of our boxes. So we were very interested in going to Negros, but it was the very last island to open up.
Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. We were settled in. We were hitting the ground running right away, taking care of certain items, and we'll talk to you guys later.